We have a prince disobeying his brother, we have a princess challenging her father, and we have the small council worried about what will happen and who's going to be a threat to King Viserys. But if he marries the girl that they all want him to, it won't be his brother challenging him. It'll be Chris Hansen telling him to take a seat. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment, here to review another episode of House of Dragon. This one is called The Rogue Prince, obviously focusing on the fact that King Viserys' brother, Daemon Targaryen, has kind of just disobeyed orders. He's stolen an egg. He's not really going against his brother, but he's not following the chain of command. He's not getting in line. But for me, this was overshadowed by something else. And we can talk about Daemon Targaryen potentially wanting to be king, or Rhaenyra Targaryen challenging her father and setting herself up to be the future queen. But for some reason, pretty much everybody in the small council wanted King Viserys to marry a 12-year-old, and it was just a weird episode. And the father, Lord Corlys Velaryon, was so desperate to marry off his 12-year-old daughter to a man that must be 30, 40 years her senior. It was very strange. I get it. He wants to have that tie to the king. He wants to have that tie to the crown. Them getting married, having kids would elevate him. But I mean, Jesus Christ, his daughter's 12 years old and he's marrying her off to like a middle-aged dude. It was strange, very strange.
Yeah, there's no morals in these times, and it's weird because pretty much everybody in the small council, hell, in King's Landing, wanted this to happen. The scene where they're just walking and you can clearly see that this guy is like a fully grown adult. We actually thought she was younger than 12.
Yeah, when you first seen her,
I thought she was about 9, 10. But it doesn't make it here. It doesn't make it any better, right? It doesn't. I'm not going to pretend it does.
Well, at first you have Otto Hightower when it's first brought up by Corlys, when he suggests it. Hightower is like, well, you know what? The problem is she's pretty young. But when he said that, I was assuming like maybe 15, 16, something like that, around the age of King Viserys' own daughter. Didn't realise she was going to be 12 years old. Then we had the scene where she was obviously fed a line from Corlys, who wanted her to say all this stuff about how I will give you children, I will give you sons, and we can, rule. And having this 12-year-old talking about giving a grown man sons, it was uncomfortable. I mean, what is it with Game of... Like, I like this universe, and I think it does a lot of things good, but they do way too much. I mean, it's one thing having, like, random horror sex scenes every episode, and it's one thing doing incest between two grown-ass adults, but Jesus Christ, can we leave the 12-year-old grown man stuff alone?
Yeah, I think from Corley's point of view, I think it should have been bad enough for him to give up his daughter, who'd be like, say, mid-20s or even like 20, but to give up his fucking 12-year-old daughter to the king for his own agenda, that's just sick. How are you supposed to back it? See, when the king he didn't even want to do it.
Well, I respect that he didn't want to do it, but I think he should have shot it down straight away. Could you imagine if someone says to Ned Stark, you need to marry this 12-year-old? Ned Stark would have pulled his sword out and that's it, fight to the death.
But see, what would Robert have done?
Baratheon?
Aye.
I don't think he'd have married a 12-year-old, would he?
A 12-year-old? The pig was 6 years old when it killed me. Governor.
And there was this rule where King Viserys wouldn't be able to take her to bed until she turned 14, but I mean...
Oh, brilliant.
Big wow, it's still fucking not right, But whatever, that was the main thing. Eventually, King Viserys tells Lord Corlys Velaryon that I'm not going to be marrying your daughter. I'm going to be marrying Otto Hightower's daughter, who's still pretty young. I believe she's a similar age to Rhaenyra Targaryen. And speaking of Rhaenyra, she actually looked visibly upset when her father decided that he was going to marry Alicent Hightower instead of Corey's 12-year-old daughter. Now, I know she's friends, and maybe that is why. Maybe she feels like she's losing her friend to her father. But I mean, I think this is a win-win. I mean, the guy he's bumped up the age here, at least by 3 or 4 years, in my opinion. So That's I can accept that. You know,
He actually had something in common with her too. He spoke to her.
yeah, it's commendable. Plus, we actually did see for this episode that Alison and King Viserys were speaking quite a lot, and they were bonding, and she got him something repaired, one of his wee statues. Got that fixed for him as well. So, you know, they just had more in common. Like when you seen King Viserys walking with Corley's daughter, and she's talking about saying all this stuff that you know she's been fed to say, and then talking about giving him children. It just didn't sit right with me. It was weird as hell.
Yeah, it's pathetic though. It's like, how naive though does Corley's have to be? It's like, does he think that the king wouldn't catch on to that?
Yeah, because that's the first thing King Viserys said. Who were you told to say that?
Yeah, and then also, I mean, I think the House Hightower's got something at play here. I think Otto definitely wanted his daughter to marry Viserys.
Yeah, I mean he
The
was,
amount of looks he was given, he's like, oh, were you talking to the king earlier on, sort of thing.
but
Something going on there.
I think everybody would want that, wouldn't they? Is it not? Is that not a fair assumption that everyone in the, not just the small council, but in general, would love to be brought into the crown, and by marrying off your daughter to the king, you're doing that.
Yeah, but as you said, I mean, this Alicent, or Alison, whatever, I mean, it's
Yeah.
a sin.
Like
what age is she,
I'm
though?
sure Tywin Lannister was celebrating when he found out that he could get Cersei to marry Robert.
Yeah, but I'm sure he was, potentially, but here, the problem is here, it's like,
It's all about the name Lannister.
yeah,
you know?
it's all about the age, though. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, well, the age was weird. Now, we had to select a new member of the Knights Guard, someone to protect the king, and it was given to the only guy with combat experience, Sir Christian Cole, and he was the one that actually defeated Daemon in episode 1 when they were having that duel. So he seems like a good as any guy to be the protector of the king, and he had actual combat experience rather than just tournament fighting. So I think this is a good selection here.
It was a good selection here, because you know what, he was easily the most capable guy there, and you want the best. Why would you settle for anything less than the best?
Yeah, you don't want some no-name bum protecting the king.
Yeah. Sir Colton Cole was the man.
So-
Double C.
Christian Cole, but
Double C.
Double C is right. So he gets his new position. Turns out there's been an egg stolen.
And there wasn't too much of a fuss at the beginning, but it turned out to be Big Balin's egg. But obviously he's dead, and that's great offence to the king. So everyone's storming over to take the egg back, demand it back from the big man himself by the name of Matt Smith. That guy, Matt Smith. Daemon Targaryen, he's took the egg, and it's funny how like there was like no importance until it was revealed it was a specific sort of egg.
Yeah, oh, there's a dragon missing. Who cares? What dragon was it? It's Balin's dragon. So King Viserys, he sees this as a betrayal, and he's not going to take it lying down. He's ready to attack, go to Dragonstone, I believe is the name of the castle.
Dragonstone, but Otto did not want him to do it.
No, it's too dangerous, my king. I will go. For as I am a shitebag and will not win in a fight. I don't know what Otto Hightower's plan was here. Wouldn't he rather go with his king? I mean, we can argue that maybe he just cares. Also, with his daughter going to marry King Viserys, he's probably looking after his own interests as well. But
True.
I'm sure Otto Hightower would have felt more comfortable and safer going there with King Viserys by his side than going it alone.
Absolutely, but here we get a big showdown with dragons. We're met on the bridge, so to speak, to Dragonstone. You've got Prince Daemon there, having a standoff with Otto Hightower.
With his new whore of a wife, apparently, who he plans to wed and have children with, but they don't view her as a wife. They don't view her as a serious option. And
I just don't get this though, right? Because why would Daemon? Yes, he's the King's Guard. He owns them. He's the commander. But it's like, yeah, but it's the King's Guard. You're just the commander of the King's Guard. Surely the King's Guard would be like, well, you know what, actually.
Well, not really, because Ned Stark thought he had the...
No, that's different though. I think if it was Robert Baratheon and not Ned Stark, it would have meant something. Ned Stark's a jobber. But that's why they're not listening to... I mean, if this was Otto Hightower acting alone because King Viserys is incapacitated or dead, I would absolutely get why the King's Guard would back Daemon. But it's not that case. This is actually on behalf of Viserys.
Was it not the City Watch?
The City Watch, King's Guard? No, it's the King's Guard. It's definitely the King's Guard.
The King's Guard should be in King's Landing. And I'm pretty sure Daemon is in charge of the City Watch because he went in and took care of all the rapists and
King's
murderers.
Guards, City Watch, shite jobby. It's just a bunch of guys with swords, right, that he's in command of, but they should have the loyalty to the king.
So we get some threats dished out. The egg isn't going to be handed over. Looks like we're going to get a big battle here on this tower bridge sort of environment. It looks like pretty even amount of numbers. And then we see a dragon fly past. But don't worry, we've got another dragon. So the numbers are even. Rhaenyra is here on the dragon. She speaks with her uncle. And she manages to convince him to give back the egg and avoid any bloodshed, and everybody gets to live. The egg is returned, and she done a good job here. Now, Viserys was pissed off that she left and didn't tell him and put herself in danger, especially since she is the only heir to the throne. But she was happy with what she'd done because she managed to prevent anybody from dying, prevented blood from being spilt, and that probably wouldn't have happened, to be honest, if it was just Otto Hightower and Daemon Targaryen, going at it in this little debate. Sooner or later, there was swords drawn. I reckon we would have seen blood, we would have seen deaths on that bridge, so I do think Rhaenyra has saved lives by riding the dragon out there and putting an end to things.
Yeah, she absolutely has, and it shows good qualities for the future heir, so to speak. It was good seeing a wee showdown here, but you can't help but feel for Viserys, man. This has to be like the worst booked king in the history. It's like his daughter's not even doing his dirty business for him. Like, I get it, he didn't send her there, and he's quite pissed off she went, but, I mean, does that not make him look incredibly weak that his daughters flew in the dragon? He's sitting there, getting his hand patched up by a pile of maggots.
It will be interesting to see if that method actually works. I know the finger is supposedly rotten and maggots can eat away at the rotten flesh, but is that going to prevent the finger from being chopped off? I'm not so sure that's the case. I know I wouldn't want maggots feasting away on any of my body parts, but I guess King Viserys has his people and they know what is best for him. But the episode ends with Corlys, who earlier was not happy that his daughter was snubbed by King Viserys, so he invites Daemon Targaryen to his castle, High Tide, and he speaks about Viserys' disregard and lack of respect for his family and loyal service, and he basically offers up a betrayal here. He wants to start a union between each other, unite their forces, become successful, and do it behind the king's back.
Yep, that was pretty much it in layman's terms, but there's also the other subplot this episode where we've got the Stepstones, and there's pirates taking over there. They're killing a lot of the soldiers, the sailors with some crabs, and essentially Corlys, this whole beef started with Viserys because he wanted backup, he wanted to start a war there, but yeah, Viserys doesn't want to start a war when it can be avoided, but Daemon, he might be more likely to do that, so that's what Corlys is offering Daemon here. Essentially, you step in, be the big man, and that'll prove to people that you can be the king in the future. And you know what? I don't really understand why Viserys doesn't want to protect his own land. I get it, because I can't remember what the actual people, what middle people were they called? Something along those lines. Not starting wars is a good thing, but it makes you look weak if you're just willing to let other people come in your territory and piss all over your shoes.
Yeah, Corlys didn't take it well when Viserys snubbed his daughter. Now he's turning his attention to Daemon, and he's looking to team up with Daemon. He was also bad-mouthing the king to Daemon, and Daemon says, "Don't be speaking disrespectfully about my brother like that," even though Daemon speaks disrespectfully about his brother.
He's a weird character, Daemon. He's very insincere.
One rule for Daemon and another rule for everybody else. But yeah, that's where we're going to end it then. I thought King Viserys did look pretty weak in this episode. I get it, they're portraying him as a nice king, a fair king, but even in the small council meeting, he's getting spoke to like I've never seen any king or even lord get spoke to in Game of Thrones. You compare like all the top ranking men of their respective houses in Game of Thrones, never did they really get spoken to like we've seen King Viserys being spoken to this episode. Like in Winterfell, nobody really questioned Ned Stark, and if they did, they would offer advice, but they wouldn't like outright call him out on bullshit.
Yeah.
Same with Robert Baratheon, same with even Joffrey. Someone that nobody respected, but they feared. But with King Viserys here, we had Corlys basically bashing him. First of all, he's bashing him to his face in the small council meeting, and then he's bashing him behind his back, to his brother Daemon, and Daemon was the only one that was pretty much willing to step up and try and defend Viserys. So
Renly might be up next for a bit of backbashing.
he might be. Anyway, guys, that was the end of the episode. So yeah, it was okay. I don't think it was as good as episode 1, but it was decent. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
It was all right.
I thought it was decent too. I'll give it a 6. It's never going to sit right with me. We're sitting out here trying to marry 12-year-olds.
Nah, less of that shit, and who knows, maybe if we can steer away from the Chris Hansen material stuff, then we could be looking at higher rated episodes in the future. But that's it, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. That was episode 2 of The House of the Dragon. We'll see you in the next one, episode 3, coming soon. Till then, though, peace.